The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. Now, we have a lot to unpack in this video. We're going to be going over options that we're liking into this week, the Fed meeting, and ultimately what's happening and the concerns with this market right now. The important part is as we look at the higher time frames, you can see we put in higher low here again. You're bouncing off your 200 SMA and you want to break back up. Now, this is the really important thing for me when I'm watching this, is that you still kind of have a little bit of this downtrend forming out, as you can see there where we ended. But you're making those higher lows off the 200, and buyers showed up aggressively. We had one of our best days of actually 2024 this past week. Now, when we zoom back out, though, there's a few things that we have to discuss is what's happening broad market, because this is just tech, right? The Nasdaq specifically. We look at SPY, and I believe this chart is much more impressive, right? We really look at this, right? There's a few levels. We'll go over that in a second, but you're making clear higher lows, bouncing. You even make it to the 200 here, but you're trying to break back up. You're already back where you were before the big drop that we had right there, right? So important to understand how we're recovering and the speed in which that's happening. You look at Dow, you're back at all-time highs. You could argue this is an ascending triangle at, the flat top, at all-time highs as well. So broad market, you look really good. Russell, mid caps, again, pinching back similar to Nasdaq, but again, you can still see a little downtrend that you have playing out there, trying to break back above, clear higher lows on the 200 SMAs. Looks good, right? So those are the big things right now. This week specifically, though, you're going to get, in my opinion, this is like Judgment Day, right? You get your interest rate cut finally, September 18th. Now, the major, and that's going to be Wednesday. The major question with this rate cut is, number one, is it a 0.25 or 0.5? I lean with this being a 0.25 cut. That makes the most logical sense. The next part is has the market priced in too high of a possibility of a 0.5 cut? That's the real question. I don't think that there's a world in which we do a 0.5 cut initially, but we'll see. There has been a little bit of talks of front-loading rate cuts, but I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, now from there, what's going to affect the biggest parts of the market? Now, we've already seen these other parts start, and these are the indicators for how we're really digesting rate cuts, okay? The DXY specifically. You zoom out here. You got to go like to the weekly, really, but we look here on the daily, you can still see you're flatlining at support. With the rate cut, you have to assume the dollar breaks your 200 weekly moving average, which you haven't broken back below since October 2021, when you broke back over this, okay? The other part here are your yields, right? This has been the big area of the market. We talked a lot about yields getting back below 4%. To give you an if you're new here, I've talked a lot about this over the past year, but when you got below 4% in 2022, what happened? November, October 2022, when you broke below the 4% on yields, okay? Really quick, we're going to come back. I don't want to jump all over the place, but it's important we understand this first, okay? Well, when you break back above in November 2022, here in October, you found your bottom, right? You found your bottom once yields started to weaken, right? Found your bottom, proceeded to push up from around 354 nonstop until 359, okay? Back to through August, okay? QQQ, very similar. You find your bottom, October, November, boom, bottom out, go crazy, back into highs 390, 400. It's important that we understand what's happening there. Now, when we look at the Nasdaq right now, you're kind of flatlining right now on the Nasdaq. You're not really breaking out yet, but you're getting back below 4%. And we have to assume when that breaks below 4%, that sellers really step in here and we start to see the buyers and something like TLT get more aggressive, because TLT is clearly breaking out now, right? You're back at those, those levels that we previously had. But again, that's where you're at right now. Trying to get the breakout back into your 200 SMA. On with the weekly 200 SMA up here, which is where I'd be targeting locally, around 116, 115 first. Think it's going to happen quick. The other part of this, so this is one indicator. And then, again, you might be saying, well, Tyler, what does this mean? What is yields? What is all this mumbo jumbo? Yields going down has to be considered risk on in the market or net bullish, in my opinion. Same thing with the dollar dropping, okay? The next part of this is what's happening with the mortgage rates. I've been very, 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 very clear. Very clear about mortgage rates. There's no possible way for me to be more clear, okay? So we can see here, mortgage rates continue to drop. They're back down at their lowest levels since around January 13th, 2023. Understand that, okay? Now, when you break below this and rate cuts get established in the market, In my opinion, I do believe you're going to start dropping down to 5.5% in a hurry. Now, I don't want to say where mortgage rates are going to bottom out at. I don't want to speculate there, but I assume mortgage rates are dropping below 6% in a hurry, down towards 5%. Now, that's probably not going to be the bottom here while they start cutting rates, but it will definitely stimulate the housing market. As long as you're cutting rates and we have more easing happening, you have to anticipate a stimulated stock market, a stimulated housing market. Okay. Now, some people want to say, well, Tyler, what about rate cuts? Every time we have a rate cut, we drop initially. Maybe we drop in September. Maybe we drop for the first 2 weeks. It's possible. But the big indicators you're looking for, even if the stock market takes a little bit of a fall, a little bit of a tumble, pullback, you want to see these major indicators, right? The yields dropping, TLT going up, the dollar going down. Those are going to be your big signs. Understand that. Okay, understand it. I don't know how else to elaborate. Some people won't get it. I don't know. Re-listen to the words that just came out of my mouth. Okay, now let's attack SPY Qs, what we're looking at here. So we said specifically here, you get back above 555, you're very, very bullish. And in fact, if you don't follow on Twitter, I recommend doing so. The link is down below, guys. So make sure you're following if you want to get the information, right? I have a little thread going on with this, right? SPY attempting to make a higher high above 550, you're going to push into 555, right? Was very clear. Above 555, you're pushing into your next level, right? So we were very clear about all these levels and what was taking place there. So it's very important that we understand what's in front of us. I made sure to post all this stuff for you guys. So make sure you're paying attention, okay? The link is down there below. Now, if we get above 564, in my opinion, you're pressing all-time highs on the S&P 500 specifically, okay? So we go something like the 2 hour, you can see we ended the week in a bull flag. What I will say, though, is as you get closer to the top of this range up here, you want to get less aggressive. The closer you get to this, the less aggressive you want to get. Let me make sure that's very clear. So if you start breaking back down, hypothetically, right, we start this week, we start breaking below lows from Friday. That's what we've been looking for, break, retest, and some continuation to the downside. As you get closer to this bottom of this range down here, well, what do you want to do? You want to stop getting aggressive on shorts, right? So we have to be very, very clear here, right? When you're in this range, you got to respect the range. We're not just trying to trade the breakout. When do we want to trade the breakout? When you get the break, the retest, and continuation. Now, that might happen on smaller time frames, but understand what you're looking for and how you're looking for. I have a lot of this posted too on social media, so make sure you're checking it out. Qs also look pretty good, back above 474. Not exactly where SPY is definitely outperforming, but Qs looking good above 474. I mean, I got to push him back up. You have a lot of room to go here, okay? So understand that as well. So all that should be down below if you guys are interested. Also, I want to make sure you guys know, go over to our website. The link is down below also. Our newsletter, you can tap in. This is totally free. It should have went out this morning at around 10 o'clock. So if you want to get the next week's copy, this is totally free for you guys. It's always there. Also, too, we're going to open up some spots in Discord. There should be some available. It says sold out right now. We're probably going to open just a few. So if you guys are interested, make sure you tap in. We had a sell this past week. We sold a lot of spots. But again, we're just going to have regular spots open. So if you're interested, make sure you tap in. The link is down there as well. So what we're looking at right now. Now, broad market, though. I don't want to get things confused. When we look at the heat map and what's taking place here. We saw, obviously, on Thursday, NVIDIA was like 8%. It was fantastic. You saw some slowdown on Friday. It wasn't a big surprise, right? A 10% day almost on NVIDIA. We would expect some slowdown. But we still saw AVGO continue its ramp, into almost 170. Impressive. ARM was another big name there. So it's important that we're understanding that the market's still moving in that overall direction, right? You're still getting the balance. You're maybe seeing a little bit of a rotation, seeing some names that had the most love get less love, and the other names catch back up. So important to understand that, guys. Also, too, if you're interested in trading options, again, I'm going to be going over options here in a second and stocks I'm liking, but I use Moomoo for everything. The link is down below. They have a bunch of specials, too, when you guys are looking to sign up. So if you are interested, unlimited day trades, cash accounts, everything like that, the link is down below. Check them out. But again, let's start going over some more of these options. I didn't want to spend too much of the time giving repeating Nasdaq and SPY. I've talked a lot about that stuff. I want to give you guys more of what's taking place here. Now, when we look at this, just giving you stocks that I'm liking during this time. I want to be really quick about this, so we're going to just bullet, fast speed through this, right? Rapid fire. Number one, Zillow. I've been very clear about Zillow. It's one of my favorite longer term names here with what's happening with mortgage rates. Again, above 57, I think it's awesome. To give room to your 200. I think you're going to hit $64 in a hurry now. Above 64.660, I think you're pressing like crazy. And above $66, that's your breakout point, and you're going to get absolutely wild there. So Zillow, watching it, love it. If you want a cheaper name than Zillow, Redfin was another good name here. I've been mentioning these names for a while. Above $16, major breakout as well to 24. Again, these are names that if you're looking at the hot, real estate market and you think that it's going to pop, these are names you got to like. Another cheap name was Open Door. Again, down here, not reacting as well, but still another name is Rocket Mortgage, RKT. Still looks really impressive. And if you're one of those like squeeze guys that likes to squeeze opportunities, I think Rocket Mortgage is the only like squeeze play here, in my opinion. Everyone on Reddit loves this thing if you've been on Reddit at all, but they actually have a real reason to start going up right now. So again, keep in the back of your mind, would be watching those. Options on these guys are very, very cheap as well. Again, Zillow is my favorite. I'm going to tell you right, it's hands down my favorite. I'd be looking at either at November's or January's. These things, they move. They move quick. So again, you're able to go out of the money. Like I would have traded something like the 60s, but you can go like to the 70s now if you want something cheaper. You can see on Friday they were up 47%. The 75s were up 69%. So crazy movement, a lot of volume coming back into these. Again, I like this. If I'm trying to enter now, more like the 70s or 60s for January at the beginning of the year. But again, you're getting a lot of time. And again, there's a viable move for these things to really get into $80. So like them a lot. Open Door and Redfin, I'm less knowledgeable about these chains. I just don't trade them as much, don't look at them as much. But it would be the same strategy as far as time and date. So again, I'd be going time. Again, you can, if you have less money, you think you need to go cheaper contracts. Yeah, that's what I would do here. Open Door. Redfin is the median. If I wasn't going Zillow, I would go Redfin. I'm telling you right now. Redfin does have room. It's getting volatile. I could see this thing really moving as well. So those are my hot names in real estate. What I'd be looking at, Rocket Mortgages in there too. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. I'll tell you that right now. Now, as far as what's happening here with tech and the rest of the market. So you're seeing XLK. So this is really interesting. Okay. So you're seeing SPY get back to all-time highs. Okay. But the thing here is that XLK isn't near its all-time highs. You still have around, $18, $20 on XLK. And XLK is going to be like Google, Apple, etc. Right? These are your tech-heavy names. Okay. The tech ETF. This is interesting because if XLK gets moving like this, SPY is going to be well above its all-time high. Qs will be probably well above its all-time high. So it's really interesting that we're seeing this. So we're seeing names that are kind of undervalued here. And so a name that I was telling you guys about was actually Microsoft. So we're going to go back into Microsoft here in a second, but I want to say Google because I think Google is Microsoft 2.0. So Google, if we look here on the 4-hour, is clearly getting beat up, right? Clearly, clear as day. You're below, you're at your 200 right now. Okay, you're trying to remount it. If I go to Microsoft, I was telling you guys the same story about a week ago. Shout out to that guy, right? So now you're breaking back above. And we said above 430, this thing is explosive. And now you're back above 430. But you had a lot of day trades. And in Discord, we traded a lot of day trades here on Microsoft. And you went from 412 into 430 in a hurry. So going back into Google, I think Google is that similar type of opportunity back into like 164, 162. But until then, I also believe this has real breakout potential as well, back into local highs, 175 then 190. You're getting a big discount. I think Google still is doing well. Not my favorite AI player, tech play, but still very cheap value-wise. So understand that. Now, also leading me into my next one, I will say, I think Microsoft is him. It's a good one, right? So Microsoft above 431, 430. We actually ended up buying some data calls in Discord. Jay mentioned them. This thing could run back in all-time highs in a hurry. I've been trying to tell you guys. Again, they're dominating in the space as well, them and Apple. Big fan. So if this breaks out like over 433, 434, I think all but confirmed. But again, looking there as well. Again, it's tough for me to go back over some of these contracts because they're like way more expensive now when like we went over the like potential there. So like now, like you're seeing they're 20, they're very expensive. They were like $10 before. So tough to go back over them. Google is probably the only like good example that you're going to get here. Going to tell you that right now. So if I'm looking at Google again, I want more time. I'm a little bit of a time slut here, right? I want to have time on my contracts. So if I'm going for like something like January, I really want to go something more dated, but you're able to go even like 160s here for $10. And I see these things getting back into 170. Like to be real by the end of the year. So again, especially if the market gets hot. So things that you're looking for right now, broad market. Okay. People like Tesla. I'm going to be really, Tesla, we said the breakout range was in the 200 SMA. The weekly, you get above the 200 weekly, yeah, massive breakup potential, but I'm not going to talk too much about that until that happens. I'll have it posted on Twitter for you guys as well. Can't do nothing there. NVIDIA, again, people want to talk about NVIDIA. We were saying down here it was a buy on $100, $95, whatever it was. Do what you got to do. NVIDIA now too is making probably one of the craziest looking pennants that I've seen. And I think you guys know how I feel about NVIDIA. I'm not going to go over the chain anymore. I think this thing is going to explode. I think it's explosive. I think it's beautiful. I think what's happening here is couldn't be better. Big fan of NVIDIA. I think it's one of the best plays that you're going to get. The company is awesome. They're going to make more money. They're going to continue to do the same thing over and over. So again, what I'm looking at there. That's going to wrap it up for Sunday's video, guys. I'll have some more stuff posted on Twitter. I did announce some chart requests here on Twitter, so if you're interested, you can go ask. I'm kind of going over a few of these. Some of these, I'm not going to go over coin. I've done it so much here. Like Boeing's just going straight down. SMCI, I think it's a fraudulent company. Like some of these companies I'm not going to go over if they're just like, I've gone over them a lot here. But I've been going over some over the past 24 hours. I'll go over more today. We have football on, obviously, so I'll have some free time. So again, let me know down below. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one, traders.